Can you,
Clark,
so
Megan.
what?
Who is Carlos?
That's what I was just gonna say. Is Carlos, can you tell us a little
Who
bit
is this random guy?
about who you are and what you do and how we know each other? Nick, I've done this before.
Yeah, you're really good at it. Top notch.
Zooming right past the introductions, right past. But go on, Carlos. The floor is yours. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I live in Aurora, Illinois. My hometown was actually Peoria, Illinois, if anybody's familiar with that. Mm-hmm. And I own a company called Ramp Now. And it's a great company because we help people every day in very practical ways, whether it's through wheelchair ramp or elevators in their home or safety equipment in their bedrooms and their bathrooms. Anything that's going to help them be more independent and safe. That's our goal. So we look at it like whole home solutions, whatever we can do to bring quality of life, because now you have more independence in your home.
Sure.
That's what we get to do. And I was thinking about it for the past couple of days now. For as long as I can remember, I've always had a heart to help people. And I've always seen myself as that person that wanted to bring change into people's lives. And so now the great thing is I wake up and there's some days where I'm tired and I'm like, oh, I got to get up and get ready for work. But it's been a very long time since I've ever had a moment where I wake up and I don't want to go to work because I hate what I do, or I feel like there's no significance in it, Yeah. So that's what Ramp Now is. We got a great team here. A majority of our team, they're all under 28 years old. So we've got a young team, which I love. They've done a good job of understanding the vision and the bigger picture of the team and the company and what we're really all about. And I have big aspirations for where we're headed next as a company. And it involves really helping people on a broader level that's beyond just the physical. So excited about that. Aside from that, I am a musician. I've been playing guitar for a long time, and I do sing as well, although my voice is not the best these days because I'm getting over a few things. I love to cook, especially love hot sauce. I always have a bottle near me. And I've got 3 amazing kids. Nick, I was telling you about them earlier, but I've got 2 boys and a girl. And they remind me every day. Yeah, I learn from them, or I try to learn from them as much as I can every day, and try to remember to wake up happy and be grateful and all that great stuff that sometimes you lose as you get older and older and, going through life. So
that sounds like a super rewarding job.
It is. Yeah. I mean, when I first started, I didn't start the company. The company had been in existence for 4 years before I came on board. And we've been in business now for almost 18 years. And about 6-7 years ago, I purchased the company from the original owner. But coming into it, I didn't know anything about any aspect of this business, and learned all the tech side of things, all the office and admin, and then started learning the owner's responsibilities and threw it out there one day. Hey, I'd love to buy the company and would love to continue to push this forward. And the owner told me I was crazy, but he obliged anyway. And here we are. We're still going strong. And yeah, so my job these days is more on the office end. So unfortunately, I don't see the customers as much as I used to, but I certainly talk to them every day. And it's, like I said, it's rewarding. We're helping people in real practical ways. every day. So
That's really cool. What
So
I was gonna say, like, how did you and Megan come to meet?
that was through WGN. So we were looking for ways to put our company out there, and we were looking for ways to do brand recognition. One of the first things that we had looked at, and this is beyond, your Google advertising and social media advertising and print ads and stuff like that. Like those were working to a point, but we wanted to take it a step forward. The first thing that we thought of was, what if we ran ads on the radio? Right. So we went down that journey, looked at the cost, and there was just something missing.
Well, radio is tough too because radio means you need to buy drive time, and then
Yes.
you have to have not only drive time but repetition in drive time. And then it's still, I mean, people say radio, but what are they talking about? Are they talking about when they pair their phone and listen to Spotify?
Right.
Sometimes we think that's radio. So I can understand. I mean, it's not ineffective. There's places for radio in everyone's budget, but it's tactical, not everything.
Right. So it became pretty clear pretty quick that the direction that we wanted to head and what we were trying to build, radio on its own wasn't going to be suitable for that. So then we thought to ourselves, if we're going to align ourselves with this market and build trust, who can we go to that is synonymous with Chicago? And almost immediately, I know I grew up watching WGN and watching the Bozo Show and all the specials. So I thought, yeah, you too. Yeah. So I thought, if we're going to do this, let's do it right. And let's at least look into this. And submitted my information. And I would say within a day or two later, we got our first phone call, set up our first Zoom call with everybody. And that's when I noticed a difference, especially with the team. It wasn't, it was very personal. They wanted to understand the company, my vision for the company, where we could go, and whether or not that would mesh well and we'd be a good team. So I think, Megan, we had 3 or 4 Zoom calls?
Yeah, I mean, lots of planning calls, and it was everything from, figuring out audience, and if I remember correctly, we did your production, and we had some digital conversations and looked at like, how can we amp up the efficiency of this campaign by adding in digital, and by the end of kind of that planning phase, I mean, you had like a robust TV and digital campaign, and I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I remember you telling us that it grew your business, that you felt like it was, TV was effective for you, and that you were seeing increased brand awareness. I mean,
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, for us, we're a small business, right? We're an independently owned small business, and so it was a leap. Matter of fact, I had it written on the board behind me. There was a box, and then the words "Take the Leap," and it had WGN next to it. And that box was left unchecked probably for the first month or so that we had been talking back and forth. But we decided that we're just going to trust the team that we had put together, the direction that we were wanting to go with this, and my gut, to trust that, to know that it was going to be the right decision for the company. And it was a leap. There was a part of it that was scary because it's new. We don't know if it's going to work. We're hoping it's going to work, and but we're going to go ahead and move forward anyway and try it. And the unique thing is that in our industry, my business was first to market for these commercials. So there were no other companies that were advertising in the way that we were going to be doing that. And I think that we were prepared, but we weren't prepared, in the sense that once these commercials started running, we saw an immediate increase in our overall sales. I would say probably for our investment, we were getting back, 4 or 5 times the amount that we were investing into the campaign and the project. So yeah, it was pretty much a success.
It worked.
It worked for sure. Yeah, no doubt. Like we wouldn't keep doing it if it didn't work. And that was it's one of those things where you press the button and you just wait, and you're like, this is gonna work. We know when the first commercial is gonna air, so we're by the phones, right?
Yeah.
And almost immediately after the first commercial, the phone rang. We all started cheering, like, all right, we're good. Let's get through the first week and get through the first month. And now where we're at now is we're coming off of a really great year last year. January and February were slowed down, I think, for a lot of different reasons.
Sure.
But what I have to remember, what was reiterated to me as a team, is that we're in this for the marathon, right? We're in this for the long haul. We're trying to build up a brand of trust, and that takes time. So you're going to have moments where things slow down a little, and then you'll have moments where things are just absolutely crazy because there's so much work. So that was reassuring, because again, this is all new for me. It was new for our company. But without a doubt, it's up there in the top decisions that I've made that are some of the best decisions I feel like I've made for the company, is to go down this route.
Well, that's a ringing endorsement for TV advertising. I think that's like the craziest thing, is so, Flowcode, obviously, Carlos, I'm not at WGN anymore. I'm at Flowcode, and, our job now is to basically get flow codes on screens, which we'll come back to because you were an OG for that. Like, you were one of the first WGN advertisers to put a flow code in your spot. And I'm actually pulling up your flow code right now to talk
Awesome.
about that. But, one of the things that's really an interesting topic of conversation that I think is still very prevalent in our day-to-day is like, flow code isn't the hero. TV is the hero. And we know that the audience is there. We know that the audience is watching. We know that people are sitting forward and want to respond. And Flowcode is the tool that makes it easy to do so. But, half the battle is being like, yes, no, there are eyeballs there. There are people there. It's worth the investment. And it's just about kind of like validating it a little bit more through Flowcode, which is awesome. But hearing it even from the perspective of like, yeah, you're an independently owned business. You're not spending millions of dollars a month on advertising, and you're building brand awareness in a way that, is super cool. It's awesome to be able to see measurable results from traditional media, and you did it. So that's amazing. Yeah,
I like to think that the commercials are great, but if you're trying to really build something, it can't just be one dimensional, right?
Right.
There's other aspects of it that will assist in that, and that will enhance that, and that will, okay, we get the eyes on the commercial. Now what? How can we get people to where we want them to go, and to get their information and find out how we can help them? And that's what I think appreciated most about what we were able to put together, was that it wasn't just, here, let's run these commercials and hope for the best. And we're going to put a number up there and we'll hope that people call you, right? It was more of I think more of a holistic thing, where it's like, we'll run the commercials. We've got some e-marketing that we're going to be doing. We're also going to dip into Google AdWords a little bit. And on top of that, we've got this amazing thing called Flowcode, that is going to be, what I like most about it is the fact that it's so easy to get what you need in like almost no clicks at all. Like you go to that screen, you say, this is what I want, and it takes you right there. So to be able to have that, because if you think about it, like we've used QR codes in the past, but what have they done? They've taken people to our main website page, right? And then from there, it's up to them to figure out how to navigate it and figure out what they need and interact. But yeah, when you showed me that that screenshot of what it looks like on the user end, that's what I was really blown away by, because it's really cool and it works.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. And I'm gonna, sorry if this messes us up, Nick, but I'm sharing my screen because, so Carlos, your code is such a fun example of, two different use cases, right? So, you have your code in Spot, and then we used it in a couple of live reads. And I remember, doing the first, and this is what I love so much, is like, look at the difference even from when you started in June running with WGN, your first live read, the difference in even brand recognition and interaction from the first live read, fast forward 60 days to your second live read and being able to see how even more sit forward that audience was. And then like, the thing that I love too is that every freaking time your commercial is up, somebody scans it. And even if it's just like one person, two people, it's like somebody is coming through to your site. And now we know that that spot was being viewed, that somebody responded to it. And it's like, oh, cool. Let's find more of those people. And that's that optimization process that is like so interesting and exciting. And like looking at this, it's like, cool, there's your live reads, but then where else do we see this? Like noon, your midday hours are always really strong for you when it comes to your scan data. And it's
look at that iOS for the win. It's 68.
Yeah,
there you go. Yep. And all of your, you have a lot of scans coming from Chicago. I promise it's not all me and Bobby, but I mean, it's just, I mean, and then, I don't have access to your Google Analytics anymore because I don't have my WGN email, but I remember even just being able to go back and look and understand, even from a flow perspective, no pun intended, that people were looking at your commercials and coming through to see you. And we could see that in the growth of your direct and organic traffic, but then having that extra validation of being like, oop, there's a flow code scan. Oop, there's another one. It was one of those things, those very validating experiences of being like, oh my gosh, we're building brand recognition from the ground up with you, which is, as a DSM, is such an exciting thing, because it was like, oh, you're like new to market. Let's build this plan and let's optimize together. And it's such a rewarding experience to have seen the way our broadcast audience responded to you, and to know like, okay, there's power in what we do here. People respond to broadcast. Like, I don't know. That was such an exciting thing.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody last weekend that their accounts are more corporate accounts when it comes to things like this, and they are usually accounts that are able to throw a lot of money towards advertising and that whole realm of things. And it can be sometimes hard to measure that and the effectiveness of it, right? But what they were telling me was with companies like yours, it's always really satisfying, because we can go to you directly and say, hey, how is this affecting your bottom line? Have you noticed a difference in your business since we've started this? And I agree. I think that's probably the best thing, is to be able to work with people like yourself that have a genuine interest in helping companies grow and be their best,
I mean, we didn't mean to make this a commercial for WGN, but for broadcast in general, maybe I think that's a good thing. And yeah, it's definitely an interesting point, because I think a lot of, when we look at like not modern day marketing, and the idea that like digital can be so automated and that you can buy a TV programmatically, and all of these things are true, but there is something to be said about the involvement of real people.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you do go to a broadcast station and you're working with somebody who has done this for a long time or something like that. I don't know. Flow Code is a very big pro people company too. We like knowing that real people are on the other side of it. It's not all algorithm based. So
Right.
maybe that's one of the reasons why it's such a natural fit. But
I think if we take a step back, at least for me, the takeaway when I'm thinking back on all of this is, no matter what avenue you decide to pursue when you're trying to grow your business and your brand, having the right team is so important.
mm-hmm.
And then having the right tools in place that are going to support the vision of where you want to go. And then, of course, the flow code I knew nothing about. I knew what a QR code was, but I had no idea what flow code was and how that even worked and the benefit for it to the company and what we were doing. But I think that's the last piece of the puzzle, is like, be open to how technology can be for you,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't completely understand it. If you have the right people around you, there's a process that you can be guided through. And I love technology. I think it's exciting. I'm always intrigued by it.
Even
Mm-hmm.
just to spend the time to learn it, even if it's not going to be, maybe TikTok isn't the place for you to market or, do ramp stuff, but you have to at least look or do the homework on why it is or isn't, and why it should or shouldn't be a part of the plan, and then reevaluate.
I think Megan might disagree with you on that.
I was gonna say, I think Carlos would be perfect for TikTok. First of all, his daughter is a big BTS fan, and so we've had a lot of conversations about.
Not anymore. She left me high and dry. She got me addicted to BTS to the point where I got a sticker on the back of my Jeep, and then she decided they weren't cool anymore.
Oh God! Well, I mean, are you
stuck.
still into them? So it's just now you're a BTS fan in the household.
Now I'm the old dad at, listening to this, where the other kids are like, "Who is this guy? Why is he listening to our music?"
I love that. Well, I think, okay, so that's the thing though, right? So
yeah.
We've had conversations before about how, and this might be going off on a tangent, but we've had conversations before about how, these medical issues that may result in mobility challenges are not demographic specific, right? So that's something that we've talked about, where, why not speak about mobility on TikTok, and why not like have the conversation in all of these other areas? And like,
oh no, I think we're saying the same thing though. Like,
yeah,
do the research, try it out, and that seems to be what.
Right, and it's about like, finding those interesting areas, and so much of your brand is you, and so much of your brand is your team and the human aspect of it. So it's like, like it might not necessarily be something that, the initial thought might not have been like, oh, TikTok and QR codes, just based on like the initial like kind of knee-jerk reaction. But then you think about it and it's like, oh, this is a content play, and it's a conversation that should be happening. And I think that you having your general market awareness is such a huge piece of that. And then,
right.
your willingness to be creative with your marketing, I think, is the other side of it.
Well, what helped us, Nick and Megan, you already know this, but we knew our main demographic, right, of people who would benefit from our services. But then we looked at, well, what if we were to target the children of those people?
Sure.
Right. And how could we do that? And what tools do we have to be able to reach out to those people too, which enters, social media.
Yep. I mean, Carlos, you gave us so many warm and fuzzies on this call, especially the using flow code is maybe one of the best decisions I've professionally made to this point.
Yes, I can endorse that. Yes.
Have we paid you for this interview? Are
Can
you
we
a real
send you
person?
some swag?
You're not a computer simulation.
I'm not a paid actor, real business owner.
Very cool.
I think whatever we can use to further do what our vision is for the company, which is really ultimately providing a positive experience for people and helping them. We want to do that. And yes, to your point, flow code has definitely been a big part of that. And that's not something that you paid me for. Even after this is over, you're not going to send me some money on Zelle or anything like that. So, yeah, it's made a difference. I mean, I'll tell you a story. We had a gentleman recently that had not been out of his home for an entire year. And it wasn't because he didn't want to be, it's that he physically could not. And to be able to, and we were able to help him and put a stair lift in place and actually take a picture of him coming down the stairs for the first time. And being able to see how happy that was for him and how life-changing that moment was is everything. You know, it reminds you of why we do what we do. And to be able to tie that back to everything that we were incorporating with this push of using media and technology, and being able to tie that back to that being a big part of it is really real satisfying, you know.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Very cool. Can we see the picture? I mean, not right now. Can you just email it to us or something?
Yeah, I can do that for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Oh, go flow code.
I'm gonna hit stop recording.
On